Greetings and welcome. 'Tis the season. I had a request for a song called The Christmas Song. Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. It's written by Mel Torme, and it's probably the most jazz-oriented of the Christmas songs. It's a ballad in E-flat major. And you can download this score that I'm playing. It's my original arrangement. You can download it from my website for free. And later on, I'm going to talk about some of the techniques. Briefly, I'm going to talk about some of the techniques that I'm playing in this arrangement. So now here we go with Mel Torme's The Christmas Song. I'm going to talk about the techniques I'm playing in this. I'm going to talk briefly about this. A lot of these techniques I've covered in other videos in detail, such as the drop two, the left-hand arpeggios, the spread voicings. All of these things you can see in previous videos in more detail. But I want to talk about some of the essential things that I did with this arrangement that maybe distinguish it. First of all, the introduction. We're in the key of E flat, so what I'm doing, I'm actually doing a drop two. I'm just playing these chords like this, but I'm going from E flat. This is an inversion of an E flat, first inversion. And then I'm going to this chord. I'm going to call that a C flat. You could call it a B if you want to, but it's an inversion of a C flat. So E flat, C flat. So that's an interesting interval because it's going down a major third. And then I go down a half step, and then I go down another major third. So that's essentially what's happening in the introduction, which is rather unusual. It's something I just heard, and I said, let me try this. But it took me a while. I probably spent an hour just working on this introduction to get it right, because I couldn't quite get the ending of it right. Because your introduction should always have it should precede maybe the 5 chord of the key that you're in. So I want to end up on a B flat 7. And take you to the E flat, so it has to make sense within that context. So now E flat to C flat, then down a half step to B flat, and the same melody, down a major third to the G flat, then down a half step takes me to F, which is really the 2 chord. Then I just make it minor and then go to the B flat. So that worked out, and I mostly wrote that by ear, so it just worked out. But I had to spend a little bit of time with that. So check that out on the sheet, and we'll continue. I'm going to point out what I think are some of the more interesting aspects of this arrangement. First of all, we start out right away with a arpeggio in the left hand. Then I come here to this, and I'm voicing the melody. The melody is this. So I'm voicing it as like in chords, like this. But I'm taking the second note from the top, which is a drop 2, and I'm putting it in the left hand. So you get a very unique sound. That's all drop 2. Now that sounds really nice, I think, with this melody and with this concept of this song, is to do that. I mean, normally I would play it like this. The second time around I do, but first time around I play the drop 2, which is a pretty sound. It works nicely with like ascending or descending melodic lines like that go in steps. So that takes us through there now, the first part of the tune. Now I go right to spread voicings here. Now, some of these chords are altered in a certain way to give them a certain color. That's a sus chord, then it goes, now there, what is that? Well, it's hard to define because it should be an E flat dominant, but I'm putting an augmented fifth in there and a major 7. And it has a unique sound. It's like a superimposed chord, like a G chord against an E flat. I like the sound of it. There's the 4 chord, then we go down a half step. That becomes dominant of C minor, which is the 6 chord. So that's straight ahead. Descending bass line down to A flat minor, D flat. Now here we go. Here's another drop 2, but it goes to a 4th voicing here. There's your 4th, all perfect 4ths. Another drop 2. And then now you have a nice spread voicing on a D9 sus chord with a 13 in it. Like these really rich chords. Now you're in G major. Now, how'd we get there? Well, we introduced a secondary dominant of a D7. Altered. I alter it there, then we go to it. When I hit the G major chord, I put an augmented 5th in it, which I like to do that often with the major 7 chords. Then it does a 2-5-1 into G flat, and I use a drop 2 there again on this line to here. I could put an arpeggio there if you like. I've got a left hand movement going now. And that's the first A section. We'll go to the next A section. Continuing, this next A section looks more difficult, but actually for me it's easier because it's something I'm more used to. It's like with the arpeggiated movement in the left hand. So now I'm using different chords. I'm using E flat, and then I'm using a B flat with an F in the bass going up to the G. So I'm doing a stepwise up the scale like that kind of thing, which I didn't do in the first A section. So I try to make each section have its own unique flavor. So this one's different. There's your 3-6-2-5 progression in spread voicings, but I break up the chords rather than just playing them like that. I break them up. I'm breaking them up like that. Arpeggiating, that's a unique thing to do, is to arpeggiate a chord or a support of a chord in arpeggiated motion, moving in a descending pattern. Like that. So it goes, sounds nice. Then I go, now I'm going up to the upper register and filling out the chord in octaves and maybe some harmony, like in thirds. More arpeggios. So I'm changing octaves. I'll do that to creates a nice contrast there. And the rest of it is pretty much spread voicing. The end of that section, I use some that's a tritone substitute, the F sharp. Instead of going to C there, I go to F sharp. It's a tritone substitute. I've covered that in previous videos. And then here it would normally resolve to E flat. You resolve it to D flat 6-9 and then come up to the E flat. So it's a different resolution. Now we'll move to the bridge. I know this is a little bit complicated, but you can look at the music that I've written out and then watch the video and kind of figure some of these things out and maybe apply some of them for you. But on the bridge now we're going to the 5 chord, but it's now minor. So we're actually playing a 2-5-1 into A flat major. And then we do a 2-5-1 into G flat major. So that's what's happening in the bridge harmonically. But the melody now, what I do is I'm harmonizing it with like this, with a the 5, sharp 5. It's the James Bond thing, but it's kind of nice. And then I do now here I do a locked hand. That's locked hand. I'm just doubling the melody. You've seen this in previous videos if you've watched my videos. I'm just doubling the melody in the left hand and then filling the chord out here, and I'm using a diminished chord there. So that's then a reverse kind of arpeggio, a descending arpeggio on the left hand. Just the rest is spread voicings. Here's a nice place to put an ascending arpeggio, and it's very easy to play this one because I have it voiced root 6, 3rd, 6, 9, so it's a 6-9, G flat 6-9. All you have to do is repeat that pattern ascending. That's an easy one to play. Spread voicings. Now here's a tritone substitute. That's C flat 7 in there, approaching the B flat sus chord, 5 chord. Now we're going to go to the last section of the song. For this last section of the song, I wanted to do something different than I had done on the previous 2 sections where this melody occurs. For that melody, first time I had played the drop 2 technique. Right? Like that. The second time I played it, ascending arpeggios in the left hand like this. Like that. Now the third time I'm playing it, I want to do something different. That's what good arrangers do. So I'm having a descending line now, and that works if I do it this way. Sounds like Over the Rainbow, right? I go to there now. That's like an A flat with a B flat chord with an A flat in the bass. With the, like a B flat 7 with the 7th in the bass. Or you can think of it as an A flat superimposed, A flat on the bottom, B flat on the top. But it works. And it resolves there to an E flat with a G in the bass. Then I go to an E diminished to take me the 2 chord, the F minor 7 to the B flat. And there I am again now. The rest is just repeat. Just a repeat of what I did before. So we get to the end. Now 3, 6, alter. That's the first time I've used that kind of a chord. It's really a sharp 9, but with an augmented 5th. Then I repeat it again. There's a diminished chord, like a G flat diminished. Then it goes to here. Now it goes to a G flat major, and then to a C flat major. All right. Then 3, 6. 2, 5. Now I repeat the introduction again. Takes me to that now the F chord, which moves nicely to a B flat 7 with the flat 9 down here, and then resolves to the E flat like that. Yeah, it took about a day to write this arrangement, but I learned a lot from it, so I hope you like it. I want to wrap up by saying thanks for watching, and I hope to post one more Christmas song before Christmas, and it will be the Christmas Time Is Here song from the Charlie Brown series by Vince Guaraldi. And it's going to be a very easy arrangement to play, so you might want to check that one out when I post it. So thanks again for watching, and I appreciate comments. I always try to answer comments. I appreciate the thumbs up if you like this. Any comments or questions, I always address those. So I'm going to just wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you next time around. Bye-bye.